This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Live from Bay 6. I'm Kevin Harris, and I'm here with this month's guest, Kevin Beadles.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, I thought this was going to be a little confusing because it's Kevin and Kevin, so
yes.
I come up with a perfect solution. So if you'll do
yeah.
this,
Yeah, right here.
there we go. And
Good.
I'll do this. Huh? All right, let's do it. The origins of you.
Darling, there are details you have not heard yet. You weren't taping that, were you?
Kevin, welcome to Live from Bay 6.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's a pleasure having you. So, my first question is, where did you grow up?
Glendale, California, right outside Los Angeles.
So, what is Glendale like?
Small bedroom community, best known for its cemetery, serial killers, and Walt Disney.
Oh, yes. That is a good cemetery, I must say.
It is. Michael Jackson's buried there.
There you go. So, when you were growing up, when did music come into your life?
I remember my mom buying a secondhand piano when I was about 10 years old for $100, I think, and asking if I wanted to take lessons. And I said sure, and found myself hooked. Joyce Ziegler was my teacher, and I think I took lessons with her up until about college.
Mm-hmm. And then when did playing guitar come into your life?
Oh, probably when I was 13 or 14. I remember being in junior high and wanting to play guitar and getting in the acoustic guitar and then having to have that talk with my dad about the electric guitar.
Ah, yes. And what was your first electric guitar?
I had a Les Paul custom with humbuckers, and it was
That was your first electric guitar?
I shot my entire
Okay, I'm
lifetime
hating you a little bit
savings.
already. I'm just hating you a little bit already.
Yeah,
So-
I remember it cost $1,300, and I had my paper route money and everything I had saved went into that guitar. I couldn't play it, but I loved just holding it. I mean, it was a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, because by contrast, I started with like this aria something, and the strings were like this far off, and I was, I had to use C clamps to play various chords.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
So that's when you kind of got into doing to playing the guitar. So did you get into a band or anything back in then?
Starting in high school, I was in a band, the Holly Hill band, I think it was called, based on the name of the street where we rehearsed while we kept waiting for an official name to come that never quite came.
So did you guys do cover tunes, or did you?
Yeah,
originals?
we did pretty much covers, I think, at that point, and maybe towards the end we worked in a few originals, but I kind of doubt that.
So who did you, during that time, who were you listening to? Who were your influences?
Well, to a large extent, it was my brother's record collection. He was 5 or 6 years my senior and had the record player in his room. And so I heard a lot of Beadles and 60s and 70s music that he was listening to. And when he'd go out, if I had been good, I could go in and listen to some records, and that was a lot of fun.
So would you say probably Beadles were probably the one?
Oh, yeah, big second-hand, second-generation Beadles fan, yeah.
So you were doing the high school band thing and doing cover tunes and so forth. When did actually writing your own songs start to appear?
I would think sometime during high school. I remember getting one of those Tascam 4-track cassette multi-track recorders, a big deal at the time. And I remember spending ridiculous amount of hours multi-tracking little songs that I discovered a DAT tape recording of these several years ago, and it was quite an experience listening to these so-called songs.
What was I thinking back then? Kind of,
yeah. It's like reading a diary that you find really embarrassing, giggly passages about.
And
your
yet you
crush.
have to start somewhere.
And yet you start somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Well, one of the things we were doing when we were going through the songs to do for the show, one of my favorites has always been Caroline, as you know. So tell me where that song came from for you.
Well, musically, I simply happened to pick up the guitar one day and made a fortuitous error. I strummed a chord with a fingering that I'd never quite done before. I kind of went, oh, that's interesting. And literally just note by note, I wrote this chord melody, this melody with the chord accompaniment. And then I'm like, wow, well, I've got an intro, now I just need the song that comes with it. And I literally wrote about 12 or 14 different verses with different lyrics. And then I came up with this one that was just twisted in what I thought was a possibly cool or really bad way. And I went up and showed my wife this verse about, Caroline, they found a needle laying by your side. They breathed in deeply, but you crossed a line. They sent your body home to me. Because all these had been about the hometown guy that the girl goes away and he keeps hoping she'd come back. And now all of a sudden she's coming back in a box, and I just thought, well, that was kind of fun. And my wife went crazy for it, and she was like, no, that's it. You've got to have that as the last line of the song.
So on the other verses, though, what other kinds of direction was it going?
Oh, I remember going to ones where I try to go to her graduation and try to catch her there, but no one can find her. She's gone off to somewhere else. And I keep doing all these different versions, backstories of remembering little days we had and events, and I'd have to look it up. I'm sure somewhere in my master writer program I've got a whole stack of discarded verses. But once that one was decided as being, okay, this is going to be from the dead chick genre of songwriting, then everything kind of fell in place. And I had some verses that kind of worked with it already. And then it became a matter of deciding, well, how much do you want to foreshadow? How much do you want to keep it a mystery?
Yeah.
And I remember messing with several different attempts at musically what happens in the chorus and in the bridge, and did a lot of rewriting on this one and got a lot of excellent feedback from other songwriters, and that's how it came together.
That's a very cool tune. I love playing this song.
Caroline, them college boys ain't worth a liberty dime. They won't be calling you come summertime, but you could still come home to me. Caroline, every sinner's got an equal right to strike a bargain for a sweeter life. But you'd be better off with me. Caroline, I kept waiting for you. Kept praying for the day you'd break away from all the shiny things that blinded you. But now there's nothing I can do except to say goodbye to you, Caroline. Caroline, I'm dressed in black like graduation night. Tassels flip, the caps swung in the sky. has fallen back to me. Caroline, I kept waiting for you. Caroline, I kept praying for the day you'd break away from all the shiny things that blinded you. But now there's nothing I can do except to say goodbye to you, Caroline. I still remember that 16-year-old girl who dressed herself in henna and sang a widow song to golden summers gone and springs that never come. And now I find, Caroline, they found a needle laying by your side. They breathed in deeply, but you crossed the line. They sent your body home to me. They sent your body home to me. You finally made it home to me.
Okay, so one of the things I was curious about is what is life like on a daily basis for you these days?
Well, I pretty much have 3 or 4 things I do, and that's about it these days. I have a day job. I work as an ophthalmologist at a local county hospital and teach at a nearby VA hospital. And I spend time with my family, and I spend time doing music, and then I try to fit in some workouts at the gym. And that's probably 99% of what I do these days.
So you go out and do gigs and stuff like whenever, you know?
Right. I've got a terrific group of musicians I have the pleasure of playing with, and either with them or on my own or in various subsets of the people I play with. I try to do 30 or 40 shows a year and
wow.
Have a lot of fun doing that.
So when you, these days, like when you're doing your writing, what is your process? How would you describe your process?
A little chaotic in that I come at things from a lot of different ways. I pretty much try to write every day, but I'm not very disciplined about how I approach it, meaning that when I go down to my little writing room, whatever I pick up, whatever interests me, I'm willing to go with. And sometimes I've got a song that's half written, but I've got a new idea, and I'll just go with that. Other times I'm working on rewriting and trying to find a way to bring a song to its best fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's working with the lyrics. Sometimes, as I described with Caroline, it's something interesting happens musically. I just try to be really open to let things come to me and see where they go.
Well, it seems like working with you in the studio that most of the time, from what, and I don't know if this is a fair statement, but it seems like most of the time you have the music part of it pretty well baked, and then it's usually the things that start to kind of change a little bit or edit and so forth is the lyric usually, right? Right.
Well, I'd say probably by the time you're hearing the song, I've probably gone through several rewrites of the music, and I've got it at a point where I'm pretty happy. But a lot of times the lyric does prove a little troublesome, and you keep wanting to try to just find a way to get a little bit more out of it. I mean, is this line really accomplishing something? Is this moving the story ahead, or is it just kind of a cool line I like, but maybe there's something better out there? And sometimes you're just still waiting for that one magic line to come along, and you hope at some point it does.
Right. Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting is I remember the song that we're going to do next, High. I think you kind of came in with, and we were kind of going over a lot of stuff with this one as far as like, what does that mean, and what I want to do with that kind of thing. And I thought that this one really was, I love this song. I think it's really cool. So where did this one come from?
This is an example of a song based on a melody. I just had a melody. I just want to get high, blah, blah, blah. And that's literally, I just had those words come to me, and I'm going around, I just want to get high, just want to get high, just want to get high. And I'm like, well, that's not really a song. I'm needing a little bit more of this. And so it became, this was a matter of where the music came together for the chorus pretty quickly, and it just sat there for a while I tried to figure out what the song was about. And something that I think really happened that helped the song along was I was having my 25th high school reunion. And suddenly I remembered, we were talking about growing up in Glendale before earlier, I remembered taking 3 years of high school French class at Glendale High School. And believe me, no one in my family speaks French, and as far as I know, no one in LA speaks French. There might be a pretentious waiter who pretends to, but no one speaks French. But I had a compelling reason to sit in that class 55 minutes a day.
And what was that reason?
Well, of course, as you might well imagine, it let me sit within a few rows, 3 rows behind to the side of the incomparably lovely, the incomparably beautiful Pamela Dickerson.
Well, there you go then.
So once I kind of figured out who I was telling the story to and who I was as the narrator, then it all kind of fell together, and it just became kind of trying to recapture that feeling of just infatuation, adolescent infatuation, and just trying to catch that sense of striving and yearning and wanting something that really in reality had no business happening.
You had some good news about this song, High, right?
Yeah, I entered it in an international songwriting competition called Song Wars in the rock and roll category, and I just found out that it came in second place.
That's cool.
Yep. Although I must say, based on the feedback I received in coming in second place, I'm thinking of now retitling the song to Pretty Damn High, but not quite high enough.
You missed it by
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a cool song. I really like playing that song very much.
She's so perfect and lovely, our two worlds can't be the same. She's so far above me, I'm just glad she knows my name. Every time I think about her, the part of me, the dream starts shining. I just wanna get high, climb up to a sky, be part of her life. I just wanna pretend that I could fit in, be part of her life. From my desk 3 rows behind her, I can sometimes see her face. When I do, it's a perfect reminder that up there is not my place. It's 10 feet, but I can't walk it. I might as well try to fly a rocket. I just wanna get high, climb up to a sky, be part of her life. I just wanna pretend that I could fit in, be part of her life. Sometimes she's standing close enough, her scent obscures my reason. My body yearns to soak it up. I close my eyes and breathe in.
So now I, of course, know the answer to this because I've been on the business end of this question, but tell people what, like when you come into the studio to start recording, what form are the songs in, how do you present it, all that kind of stuff?
Well, the answer changes with different songs. Sometimes I have something pretty together and I've got a fairly good idea of what I want to do with it. Other times it's kind of half written and I want your feedback and see if you can point me in some directions to get the song finished up. The main thing I try to do is to try to let you hear the song fresh and give myself a chance to get your take on it without me influencing you. In other words, to try to present it in as stripped down a version as I can, and no matter how specific of ideas I might have, give you a chance to see what you come up with, because sometimes you come up with things that I never would have imagined, and they're like so much cooler than what I had in mind. And so I feel like if I interject myself too much up front, I lose that chance to get your initial fresh take.
So we've got this new album coming out.
Right.
Before we get to that, what other albums do you have kind of in your catalog at this point?
Well, this one came out in 2003, Modoc Street Sessions, and this is my first album since then. Right now it looks something like this. Actually, this side's more impressive. And pretty soon it will look more like this.
And then have like a plastic thing.
Yeah, a CD in it and some sort of wrapping. And that's being made as we speak.
But by the time people see this, it will
By the time this is released, this will be out and available for sale on CD Baby. And it's called You Can't Argue with Water. And it has all 3 songs that we played today. And in addition to Shine coming in second place, High coming in second place, there's another song on here, Shine, that I was really thrilled to have come in second place in the West Coast Songwriters in their rock category.
Also very cool.
So I'm nailing those second place prizes.
And with this album here, this actually is sort of the beginning of you becoming a signed artist at this point.
That's right. Next, just about the coolest thing that's happened to me in the longest time, other than my kids and marriage and things like that, is Ripple Music, which is an indie based in San Ramon, California. Just signed me. They're releasing this album. And they've already done so many things to promote me, and it's just great. It's really fun. And
that's really
great
cool.
People to work with.
That's really great. So we can get to these. This one's coming out real quick, so you'll be able to get to that on things like CD Baby.
CD Baby, iTunes, Rhapsody, Napster, all of those sorts of things.
Okay. And then you also have a website for yourself as well, right?
KevinBeatlesBand.com or KevinBeatles.com or KBBand.com.
So after people hear what we've done today, then they can get a hold of this stuff. And
absolutely. I'd love to have people visit the website.
Great, great. So one of the things that I want to ask you here, and this is always everybody has such a different take on this question, but the question is, if you were going to give advice to someone who's either already writing or they're just kind of getting started on writing or whatever, what would be your sage advice here?
I'd have to say something that's really helped me is I've tried to get help, and that means taking lessons from people who I really respect and trust, and this ties all into it. Is if you want to get better, you've got to be willing to change, because if you aren't going to do something different, you're already getting all that you're going to get. And so I try, when I come into you or someone else that's going to help me with the song, I try to play this little game with myself, where I say, "Ego, my old friend, come over here. Friend, I need you to sit down here. You're so good to me. You protect me all the time. You fight for me. You stand up for me. And you keep me from hearing things I don't want to hear. And I love you and appreciate it for that. But I need you to stay here for a moment, because I'm going to go into that room and talk with someone. And I need to really hear what they're telling me. And I promise, as soon as I come out of that room, we're going to talk about everything. And we can decide what we want to do and what we're going to say. Forget that person. They don't know what they're talking about." And so it's a challenge, but I try to really be open to getting feedback and really listening to what that feedback is. And sometimes I end up going, I think that person has a point, but this is just integral to who I am, and I think they just don't get what I'm trying to do. And other times I'm like, wow, I didn't see that way. I thought I was doing something else, but that's what I'm communicating.
Yeah.
And if that's not what I want to communicate, I need to change it.
The last song that we're going to do here, and this song cracked me up. I remember the first time you brought it in. It has a rather irreverent tone to it, and so tell us about Mrs. Jones and where that came from.
Well, I have, even though I grew up in Glendale, I have some ties to Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and the South, in that my mom's parents met in Oxford, Mississippi, which is Ole Miss, the college town. And this was during the Depression. And there in town, they befriended this kind of disreputable local postmaster who wrote what the locals then considered to be kind of trashy novels, just kind of vulgar stuff. That is until he won the Nobel Prize and several other prizes, and became the guy that we know of as William Faulkner today.
Mm.
So I grew up with kind of macabre tales and murder-suicides and things like this as just kind of, bedtime stories, things you just heard from a loving relative who would help you drift off to sleep with the latest story of intergenerational destiny. So anyhow, there's this terrific Faulkner story called A Rose for Miss Emily, which is about a woman who, straight told, it's just about a woman who decides one day to poison her husband and leaves his body rotting in the bed, their marriage bed, until she dies as a very old lady. But the way it's told, it's completely told out of sequence, and there's this whole mystery about it, where there's this episode where the husband just left and she doesn't come out that much anymore. And then the neighbors remember this time there was a funny smell coming from the house. Anyhow, I just kind of liked this macabre tale, and one day I had these lines come to me. Who knows where these things come from? She drives a hearse. It's not the worst car in the world. And I just thought that was kind of funny, but I didn't think anything more of it. But it just kept coming back to me, and I'm like, all right, I guess there's a song trying to come out here, and what the heck is it about? She drives a hearse. It's not the worst car that she has. And then before long, it becomes the story of Mrs. Jones, who you might say is a bit bitter, perhaps a bit deranged.
A touch.
And she literally, drags her past around with her, rotting away as it is. And that is the story.
I love this song. This one cracks me up. It's still, it has that dark humor that we all know and love so well. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go check it out, huh?
Sounds good.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2. She drives a hearse. It's not the worst car that she's had. Yeah, Mrs. Jones, it's not the only name she's had. And every grievance that she's nursed, every sorrow, every rides behind her in the hearse. And it's all we get. What you don't bury, carry along. But the stench gets a little strong. Yeah, the stench gets a little strong. Her first divorce, she drove his Porsche into a lake. The final decree gave her more than she could take. And every grievance that she's nursed, every sorrow, every hurt, rides behind her in the hearse. And it's all we get. What you don't bury, carry along. But the stench gets a little strong. Yeah, the stench gets a little strong. Well, it's shiny and it's black, but if you don't look in the back, it's just another Cadillac stuck on the railroad track. Yeah, Miss Jones' Cadillac. If every grievance that you nurse, every sorrow, every hurt rides behind you in a hearse, and it's only getting worse if what you don't bury carry along, then be sure you don't carry on too long. Don't you carry on too long. And that's the moral to this song.
Well, that's our show for today. We'd like to thank our special guest, Kevin Beadles. It's been a ton of fun. Had a great time playing his tunes. If you want more information on Kevin and how to get a hold of his tunes, go to our website and visit the Live from Basics show page. And also, if you'd like to get one of our cool Live from Basics t-shirts, go to our website and visit our store. Well, that's it. We're out of here.
We would be madly men all lost together. Yes. We would be lost together. That's right. We're singing about a dead chick here. Can we have a little reverence? Please respect the heroin overdose, would you please? Okay. We're talking about an imaginary girl that I love in an imaginary fashion, and I'd appreciate a little respect if you wouldn't mind, please. Pardon. You know what? I love my line about the cemetery and all that. I do too. I've got to get that back in.
Okay.
So you've got to ask what's Glendale about.
Okay. All right. So what was that like growing up down there?
Hold on. No, let's just take it from the beginning. Yeah, let's just take it from the beginning.
What was funny about that? So what was that like as a kid?
Well, what is Glendale like? Tell me about Glendale. Well, as a kid, I hung out a lot.
Shall we try again?
So what was Glendale like? I really want to know about Glendale. I don't really give a shit about you, but I really want to know about Glendale so that you can have your line in there. Got it. And also, if you'd like to get one of our cool Live from Basics t-shirts, visit our website and our show page.